Yeah, I don't know whether or not it's clear that she was framed. It's just clear to me that she didn't do it. Yeah, someone has to convince me that it is plausible, and the more plausible, the better would be nice. Someone has to convince me that it's plausible that a 7,000 pound vehicle traveling backwards at 25 miles an hour can hit a guy with enough force to create a disabling injury, but not enough force to create torn ligaments, broken bones, or even bruising. It's like someone has to convince me that's possible. I'm not buying it, right? Because even if she hit him, unless the injury caused the death in a causal chain, it doesn't matter too. So even if you assume she hit him, it's still not enough unless the injury itself, of course, caused the death or was a substantial cause, to be more legally precise. So if, the disabling injury caused him to be unable to stand up and he died from hypothermia, that would do it, right? The ultimate cause of death is the hypothermia, but the causal cause of death is the disabling injury. She caused the disabling injury, so she's responsible for the hypothermia. Right? That's not that complicated legally. We understand this concept. That's not hard, right? That's fine. But, you still have to convince me that she hit him with enough force to create the disabling injury. If she didn't create enough, even if she hit him, if she didn't create a disabling injury, then the causal chain doesn't work because you need the thing to lead to the death. It's not that it's not that hard. So you know you have to convince me that so either the act itself didn't happen or the causal didn't happen as a result of the lack of bruising. Take your pick. Either way, it's an attack on the mens rea element. Yeah, and if you think that those marks on his arm were caused by pieces of shattering tail light, it's like I've got a bridge to sell you. Something else is going on in this picture, man. And it is proof beyond a reasonable doubt, lest I have to remind you. So not only do you have to convince me it's possible, you have to convince me it's possible with enough assurance that I can get the proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And seeing as basically at this point, I have basically have proof the exact opposite way around. You have a long way to go. So, right, if proof beyond a reasonable doubt is 95%, when it comes to like the actus reus, it's like 5%. So it's basically proof beyond a reasonable doubt the other way around. So that's not a problem. You only have 90% to go. No problem. Hmm. Chloe ran over him. I buy that. That makes sense. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know if she was framed or just incompetent. You should never put just incompetent past the thing, right? Isn't that one of those laws? It's like never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. Yeah, it's one of those truisms. So is it the police are corrupt or are they just completely incompetent? You never put incompetent past everyone. Never put incompetent past people. Most people are not malicious. A lot of people are incompetent. And then even if you somehow assume that everything in fact happened, the state, of course, still has to prove it. And then you get into the solo cups and the evidence logs and the evidence floating around in someone's trunk and so forth and so on. So it's like, which of these many cuts do you like in order to get to be in order to get to not guilty? And it's like, which do you like best? You know, and maybe that means she gets away with murder, but so be it. If the state can't prove it, they can't prove it. So does that mean she gets away with murder? I don't know. State has to still prove it. They can't do it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to my mind. Make it literally make it make sense. literally make it make sense in a way that, of like, I actually have to think about it for a second. That'd be nice. And then, of course, as to what the jury will do or yeah. I mean, what I think and what the jury thinks are definitely not the same thing. And it's always prudent to remember that. I still think, if we had to assess the probability of conviction, 60% seems like a reasonable number. Like, this is all the shit store portion of the case, although I kind of forgot how bad this shit portion of the case was. But yeah, this is all the shit portion of the case. So if they, the end really strong with what their physical evidence is, if they shift all the physics stuff into the rebuttal case, you know, they put on a bit of a show. And then, of course, Proctor just becomes their huge liability. But we already know about Proctor. If they can perform a magic trick and make him disappear, they're gonna try. He's a lot to make disappear, though. He's a tall guy.